Hello and welcome to the TriathlonDan YouTube channel. Welcome to my first time trial of 2020 on my journey to hopefully get into the National Time Trial Championships. Now you'll see me here rolling up to the start line. Unfortunately there is no pusher off today, so I'm coming to an almost halt, starting my wahoo and then going. Here we go. Right, big power off the start line, getting up to speed as fast as possible. You'll see I'm complying with the CTT regulations. I've got a red flashing rear light on. And then get down to TT position as soon as you can and crack on. So this course is the 11.3 mile course that starts and finishes in Tuxford in Nottinghamshire. This is an actual time trial course. We use it in the summer for the club time trial championship, but I'm just doing it on my own today. It doesn't cost a fiver, but there's nobody there. Thanks to Liz for driving behind me in my car, and thanks to me for sacrificing what's probably going to be a quite large portion of paint by gluing a GoPro mount to the bonnet, but there you go. So I'm going to try and analyse my ride essentially. This is my first time trial ride at pace this year. I've got a lot of work to do with position, with bike handling, with putting out power in TT position, basically everything to do with time trialling. Now this course, you can see the map on the top right hand corner. It's not straight, it's not flat. To me it's a proper time trial course. Like here I'm going through potholes and all sorts. Time trialling, there's a lot of fast time trial routes on dual carriageways, and to me, yes, it might be good to post up a good time for Strava, but to me time trialling is more than that. It's about being tactical on the twisty courses, knowing where to put power out and where not to on the little rises and things, and that's what I'm trying to nail on this course. So yeah, the first 3 or 4 miles it's a net downhill of about 100 feet, and it's pretty flat and straight. There's a couple of little rises, but other than that it's pretty much the easiest part of the course until we get to that sort of hairpin left you can see. So I've started off and I'm riding at between 330 and 340 watts, so I'm at 344 now, and I'm getting a good speed here. It was actually into a slight headwind this way around, but with it being slightly downhill it actually works out quite fast. I'm doing 46 k's an hour, so moving pretty well. I do ride at quite a low cadence, so 78 to 80 RPM is pretty normal for me. I would hope to be around 82-ish, but it just, you know what it's like, it just feels like what it feels like, doesn't it? So at this point I'm just trying to not go too hard too soon. My max heart rate is about 172, 173 on the bike, so I'm a bit of a diesel engine, so although I'm only at 149, it's not actually leaving much breathing room, so to speak, in the tank. Just coming up to a little rise now. Now I'm not going to start cutting corners and absolutely straight lining bits of road here. I'm just on a recce ride, just a test ride. There's absolutely no point in me risking anything for the sake of a Strava segment. Now I think at this point my saddle had slipped, so the nose dipped down a little bit more than it did at the start, so I'm shuffling myself back a bit more than I would normally do, but I was already a couple of minutes in. I wasn't going to start again, so I just decided to carry on and lean a bit more on the bars. It wasn't until looking back at this video that I noticed how much my upper body moves. I'm wrestling with the bike the whole time. I don't think it matters so much on a short distance like this, 11 miles, but if I was doing a 50 or 100, which I hope to do later in the year, that's going to add up, I'm sure. You see here, just trying to come across the road a little bit. Now I know Liz is behind me in a car, so I'm not too worried about holding anybody up. The roads were pretty quiet. This was a bank holiday Monday, this ride, so I was pretty confident that I wouldn't get in anybody's way. This is probably the smoothest bit on the course here, so just trying to maintain position, keep out a constant power, and go from there. Now the course, as you can see, I come down to, it's probably the longest bit of the course here, and then I take quite a sharp left. I've got a bit like a head crosswind in this bit, and then when I turn left, that bit is all the tailwind, and then the final third is a head crosswind. So I'm trying to save a bit in the tank for that final third head crosswind. If you think about how to ride a time trial fastest, the way I understand it is that you spend the least amount of time going slowly, so when it's easier, go easier, when it's harder, go harder. So I'm trying to save a bit for that final third, knowing that it's into a headwind, knowing that it's slightly uphill as well, just to try and minimise the loss of that average speed, but best laid plans and all that. So I'm sat about 330 watts. I was feeling okay here, and it takes a few Ks for you to get into it, doesn't it? You sort of at the beginning think, oh, this is too hard, but I sort of got into the swing of things and just got my head down and tried to work. I was fiddling about the position all the way, my head's bobbing up and down and trying to figure out how low can I keep my head, can I see where I'm going, and so on. Cadence is caught to H2 there, so I think I've got a bit more into a rhythm, a little bit high cadence. I'm just trialling some bigger gears at the minute, so I've got a 56-44 chain set on, which seems to be a lot better. I don't really run out of gear. I don't really run out of gears anyway, but it's supposed to be a little bit more efficient. And I do have a new waxed chain on the bike, which I'll have to talk about in a separate video. That was running slick. Now this bit here, you're not far off the first little rise on the route. There's not many little rises, but there are a couple. So I was just thinking about, okay, how can I get up this next section of road as fast as possible while it's not doing myself too much damage? So I just sort of kept the power I was holding, which is a hard effort. In terms of actual power, my threshold in road position, which I set indoors, is about 380 watts, so I should have a fair bit more in the tank. But the reality was that this was hard. I was really struggling to put out sort of 340, 350, so it just shows that TT position isn't as powerful as road position. And I think especially when you're indoors, it's a lot more controlled. It's easier to put out that sustained effort power than it is outdoors, but some more potholes to bounce around on. Great. Now in terms of race kit, I have got my TT helmet on. I've got my tri-suit, skin suit, whatever you want to call it. What was it? Roka Elite Aero 2, basically what I'm going to be using for time trialing. I've got my tri shoes on with some Lycra overshoes, but I haven't got anything on my calves, so I'm where I need to get some sort of aero calf things, but we'll see. So here's the first little rise. I'm near at the top of it now, but it just gets a bit steeper. I'm still doing 27k an hour, so it wasn't until I slowed right down until I got out of the saddle. So here, just putting a little bit of digging up to 400 watts, just to limit that loss of speed and momentum, and then I'm focusing on trying to get over the top, put a bit of power over the top, get back up to speed, and then sit down and settle into the power, rather than getting to the top and backing off straight away and still losing that momentum. Sort of similar to Zwift racing, really. You don't take it easy until you've gone over the top. It's weird how similar that is. So now my heart rate's obviously climbed a little bit, but I'm just trying to control it. I've dropped the power a little bit because it's a little bit of a downhill. I think at this point I was thinking, oh, this is a long way to go. I shouldn't have gone that hard. Oh, pigeon just flew from the camera. Nearly got him. So this route is also the chain gang route that we use in the summer. So I know it pretty well. So I sort of got to the point where I know where potholes are, and I know where the corners are and stuff. So I'm just trying to pull on all that knowledge to not end up face planting the curb or something else, because there's quite a few things to miss on this route. It also really helps knowing the course, because now I know this corner, for example, that has some chevrons saying it's tight right, but I know that on a bike it's not. I can still keep it pinned. I'm still at 350 watts now. Not in any worries at all of stacking it. Another little rise here. I don't think I get out of the saddle this one. I think I'm going fast enough where, when you can feel the wind on your shoulders and your helmet, that I know that if I sit up, it's just going to be a big aero penalty. I think for the power drop off, it's still better to stay in TT position and just set a little power drop off. So here I'm still doing 370 watts. If I got out of the saddle, I might be able to push 400, but I'll probably be slower because I'm out of the saddle and hitting the wind. So I'm still doing 33k an hour. And again, just pressing on over the top, just making sure that I'm getting back up to speed as fast as I can. I did have big ambitions on this course of trying to get close to the course record. I'll spoil the surprise for you. I do not take the course record today. I do in fact miss it by 2 whole minutes. But the gentleman who has the course record has shared his data with me. Thank you very much, Jack, for doing that. I've got a bit of work to do with power. I've got a lot of work to do with aerodynamics. The guy's ridden a 48-minute, 25-mile time trial, so pretty handy. I think he's ridden a 1:38.50 as well, something like that. So yeah, basically got a lot to learn. A little bit of a downhill now. Again, I'm just thinking about this corner coming up and trying to save some energy. Why have I got this cap on? Well, we are in lockdown, aren't we? I've had a bit of a coronavirus trim, and the last video I put up on the channel, I think 90% of the comments are about my hair, so no, you've not got anything to talk about. Pothole there that I missed, damn it. Well, my body's moving around, isn't it? Is that normal? Let me know down below. Is that a time trial thing? Is it because I'm riding at a lower cadence than like normal people do, or is it just a habit thing? I'm definitely bumping myself back on the saddle a lot more than I normally do, just because the nose had tipped down a fair bit more. I think there's a clip at the finish where it shows how much it's tipped down. Now this bit here, there's a little rise, but then shortly after that there is a left turn that's quite sharp. So I didn't want to go too hard up this climb climb up this little bump and put myself in a hole, knowing that I was just going to be touching the brakes and wasting it. That's the the least efficient thing you can do, isn't it, when riding a bike? Touching the brakes, all that energy just being transferred into heat and noise on the pads on the rims. So let's try and maintain momentum as much as you can and not do anything that slows you down. So I'm now about 10 minutes in, something like that. Probably starting to bite now. I remember that it's at this point our heart rate's just hit 160, so I'm thinking 161. This is getting harder. Press on up this little ride a little bit up to 370, 380. Back down a little bit to 360. Just trying to limit the losses without going too deep up this hill. Data wise, I was looking at my 3-second average power, my normalised power, my heart rate, and I also had the map up in front of me, which is quite handy to have just to remind myself when the sharp corners are coming up. To this point here, I'm very close to the corner, but I know I'm just sort of soft tapping, 200 something watts, just trying to leave it to the last minute until I have to brake. A few seconds of freewheeling, checking that Liz isn't going to mow me down behind. On the brakes, and then just trying to take this corner as fast as I can. And Liz didn't catch this bit, but I did just drift over the white line. It wasn't super smooth, but it wasn't bad. And then as soon as out the corner, straight back on the pedals, accelerating hard, getting back up to speed, just because that point where you're going slow, the longer that goes on for, the more your average speed just drops. So just got to put that little dig in just to get back up to speed. This bit's actually a really nice bit of road. It's all been resurfaced this last summer, which did, ironically, cancel about 5 of the time trials because the road works, but I think we all agree it's worth it now. It's super smooth. So here we go. Now I'm onto a bit of a tailwind section. So when I say tailwind, it was about 7 or 8 miles an hour, so it wasn't like it was going to blow me away and I was going to top like 50 miles an hour, but certainly a benefit. And I planned on this bit to knock the power back a bit with the last third in mind, but I didn't really manage to. I still sort of rode at hard tempo, thinking I was going to lose too much time if I backed off. I suppose that's lack of experience perhaps, but see now I'm still sat at 350 watts and really I should have done the sitting at 320, 330 and got that heart rate down a bit more, but what can you do? When you feel good, make hay while the sun shines, hey? So now I'm doing 48 k's an hour, that's fairly decent. This is a nice flat open stretch, so really I could have probably got my head down a bit more, but I'm just conscious that if anybody pulls out of it, like there's a football club, if anybody pulls out of the car park, I really don't fancy being splattered on somebody's windscreen, so just trying to keep looking where I'm going. Yeah, the power's dropped a little bit now, down to 320. I think I was thinking about easing off a bit here. I know there's another couple of sharp corners coming up, so perhaps it's a bit of a wasted effort if I'm going to go too hard. We'll see in the distance as well, there's a couple of cyclists, bloody cyclists in the way. At the absolute wrong time, put me off my line for both these corners. And I've practiced these corners several times on a road bike, not really on a TT bike, and I wasn't confident enough to go around on the aero bars. But I didn't touch the brakes on anything, but I did sit up on the tops. So here, there's a sharp right. Really, I could do with being where that lady's on the left-hand side to give myself the best line around the corner. I tried to come back across, but just didn't get the right angle, and that was a bit sketchy towards the end. And of course, Liz loses me because she sat behind the cyclist. Get her signed up anyway. There we go. Where have I gone? Then there's another left-hand bend here, and just local knowledge, I know that it's really bad potholes on the inside, and there's another guy here as well, so I had to come like really too far out and stay further out than I wanted to. If you look on the left there's loads of potholes. It's actually the best to go in the middle and even drift towards the outside, towards the exit. I can't remember exactly. So yes, I passed that other cyclist, and then we go around a right-hand bend here. This right-hand bend, because it's ever so slightly uphill, it scrubs off enough speed that you can just keep it pinned all the way around. So you can see I'm still sat at 340 watts all the way around here. Whilst it looks sharp, it's actually not. But this left-hand bend is a bit sharper, so I had to back off for that bit. And again, just avoiding potholes on the left there. You see, it's quite bad actually. Then we go on to the next couple of rises. This little kick here, again, kicking up to nearly 400 watts, just trying to minimise the losses on that little climb. Avoiding the potholes. Beautiful British roads. Pigeon, little taking out that pigeon. There we go, motoring. Making the most of this little bit of tailwind, up to 46 k's an hour, 47 k's an hour, 48, what's that, nearly 30 miles an hour? 50 kilometers an hour, it's not bad, is it? I think it's slightly downhill this part. 51. Yeah, it's 80 RPM low. It looks like I'm grinding, but when I'm riding, it feels super smooth. It feels like I'm at my preferred cadence, so I don't know whether I need to work on that or not. I don't think I'll be doing the hour record anytime soon, so I don't need to worry about it too much, I don't think. Another little tiny rise up, really nothing to write home about. It's just a ever so slight little rise. Looks like a false flat. There's another few bends that come up here, and these are faster in that I can carry more speed, but I did get a little bit of a wiggle on, I think, on one of these. Yeah, so I backed off power a bit. I'm not sure whether this was a choice or whether I actually just couldn't really put the power out. But either way, I definitely backed off a little bit here. That 20 odd watts really, well, didn't really do too much to be honest, but definitely knocked a bit of pace off. There we go. So there's a left, right. Now I know on the left there's some potholes on the inside, so I'm staying towards the outside. Which isn't the fastest line, but it's the smoothest. See there, just stay on the outside, stay on the outside. And then there's a right hand one as well. Oh, it really wasn't that bad. I think the next one's a little bit sharper. So yeah, although it's like not like you're cornering on rails, it's enough to think about. It's enough to give you something to focus on rather than just going up and down a dual carriageway. This right hand bend here, again, I know that that's shallow enough that I can just keep it pinned and just keep riding. Yeah, this is the little complex. So when I go left here, I think I haven't ridden it this fast. I tried to come right out to the middle to give myself the smoothest line, hit the apex, but then on the way out I get a little bit of a wiggle on. That's, yeah, just swerved left a little bit, and then it just put me off this next corner. I wasn't quite hitting the apex. I was just going the long way around, but you know, it's not easy, is it? I used to do a bit of track day driving, so I was trying to use that knowledge to get the fastest way through the corner. But when you press the gas pedal on a car, you've got a lot more go than you have on a bike. So trying to carry that momentum is a bit more important on a bike. So this is another little rise here. Again, it gets steeper towards the top, and this is just for a left-hand bend. So I'm just trying to keep the speed up. What am I up to now? 350. Yeah, not going too deep. I should have probably kicked on a bit harder here, but I'm feeling it. My heart rate is at 162, so I'm not far from max. Going left here, and it does then carry on going up a little bit as well. I'm on the tops now because it's quite a sharp bend, but I'm able to keep the power on, so I'm still over 300 watts. And then I'm straight out the saddle because I know there's the crest, and then there's a decent downhill. So I'm just trying to press on and get to that crest just to get that speed over. So 400 watts. I know this hurt, but I just knew this is the fastest way to do it, and I could try and recover down the hill. So straight back up to speed in the aero position. I didn't have speed on my computer, so I didn't know how fast I was going, but you roughly know when you're going down the cassette that you're moving pretty well. So here, just drop back off to just under 300 watts just to try and get some sort of recovery in. And there's quite a few potholes down here, so I was trying to wiggle my way around them and remember where the bad ones were. This is a course I'm definitely going to be revisiting. Hopefully, when the club starts doing the weekly, the midweek club time trial. So staying out there because that's not the fastest line, but there's a load of potholes on the inside. Yeah, so hoping to revisit this a few times and use this as a bit of a testing course, just to test power and speed, see if I'm getting better technically, see if I'm getting better power-wise. It's very local to me, so it's very easy to do. Yeah, so I'm getting towards the end now, so I'm just thinking how many of these little bumps are there left? Is it this one and then two more? There's more than one more. Your mind starts playing tricks on you when you're absolutely on the limit, doesn't it? So this is a sharp right left bend. I've done this on a road bike and I've been able to keep it pinned, but I wasn't able to on a TT bike. I think there's a little bit of gravel. I was a little bit unsure and I was a little bit knackered in honesty. I was thinking if I can freewheel for a few seconds, then I'm going to stand a much better chance of feeling better at the end. So here I'm well off the power, 200 watts. swing out again for a left-hand bend. Again, potholes on the inside, so I've just stay drifted out to the middle. Then coming out the corner, got to put that dig in, got to get back up to speed. There we go, back up to 41 k's an hour, so that's okay, isn't it? I think the course record speed is about 28 miles an hour, and I end up averaging 26 point something, which I was happy with given the technicality of the course and then the first TT test of the year, etc. But like I did a half Ironman last year and I averaged nearly 25 miles an hour on the bike, so it's hard to compare courses, but I hope for more. Definitely hope for more on a fast course, but I hope for more on this course as well. Again, a little bit twisty, a little bit windy, just trying to find the fastest line, trying to keep that momentum going. Down to 76 RPM, 75 RPM. Such a diesel engine. We're at 340 watts. Now I know that I'm not too far away from the finish, but this makes it, because of what the finish looks like, it makes you think you're near the finish when you're not. So I knew that I needed to just hold a little bit back for that last little bit. There we go. So these are all little false flats, all little 1%, 2% climbs, probably even just 1%, but enough just to scrub some speed off. I can do 36 kilometers an hour, still doing 340 odd watts. But this is where, in my opinion, I should have been able to lift it. I should be doing 380, 390 here and be able to power on up these hills, but it's all pacing. I thought I'd have more in the tank, but obviously not. Yeah, down to 320 here, up to 163 beats a minute. This was hurting. This was like, I was thinking, what the hell's going on? I'm trying to like clear my nose without breaking aero position, so I'm just like snot everywhere, etc. Weaving around a little bit, a bit of a head crosswind, deep section wheel, so I've got Zip 808s on, so the front wheel's a little bit deep for a crosswind. Something else I can get a disc wheel. Is there much difference? Anybody know? Let me know down below, please, before I waste how much money they are. Here we go, another little rise up. Didn't even wait for that cyclist, how rude. Too bothered about aero position. There we go, so down to 33, 34 k's an hour, 360 odd watts. That's just, just scrubbing that average speed off, but I couldn't give any more. This was going hard. My head coming up there, is that too high? You look at proper time trial riders and the head is like below the shoulders, I just think, how can you hold that and see where you're going? So this is the top where you think you're at the top, but you're not. There's another half a mile or so, and then you come to it. Heart rate's creeping up now, 165. This is just getting tough. I'm just thinking, I'll just keep going, it'll be over at some point. I'm just going to keep pedaling, and then it will finish at some point. Yeah, my body is moving around, isn't it? What the hell? Absolutely wrestling with the bars. No one I've gone through 3 sets of base bars in like 2 years. Really slipping forward. My saddle was pointed right down. It wasn't ideal. I don't normally slip that far forward. And this is it. This is the last little rise, I think. So this is the. I'm telling myself I've got to lift it now. I've got to lift it. But it's just so hard to actually do, isn't it? It's easy to tell yourself, but it's harder to actually put into effect. So up to 380 watts, and that was pretty much it. In my head, when I looked at best bike split and whatever else, I planned, right, I'm going to do this and this. I'm going to get to the end and have 400 watts and 420 watts all for the last 3 or 4 minutes, and it just doesn't happen. I hadn't like tapered this or anything. I hadn't planned it as a as a big event, but I wouldn't say I was tired going into it either. And I did have a good breakfast and a gel before I started, so I was well fueled. And now 360 watts. I'm all over the road. Is that? Shouldn't be reviewing about that much. This has been really good for me to get some data as well. So I've uploaded this ride into Best Bike Split, and it estimates your drag efficient as well. So I can take this data. It tells me how fast or slow I am aerodynamically and power wise, I could put it on another course and say I'll put it on like a course I'm doing later in the year. I could put in what power I think I'll do, and it will estimate what time I'm going to do. Or you could say I want to do this time, what power do I need to do, and how do I need to pace it, and all those sorts of things. Best bike split is awesome. Here we go, right near the end, 167 beats a minute. This is getting really hard. And what, 20, yeah, mid 20 minutes. I paced it for an effort a little bit shorter than this, so perhaps I was feeling a bit tired. But I think whenever you get to the end of any length event, near the end, it's always going to be hard, regardless of how long or short it is. Maybe it's a mental thing, maybe it's physical, who knows. Here we go, really just trying to wring everything out, and I'm down to what? Well, I'm still on 350 watts, and maybe I was thinking I was worse than I actually was. But there's definitely no lift there from what I've been doing earlier on. It's pretty much the same. Oh, 370, okay, maybe there's a little bit of a lift. So when I get to the top of this hill, that is, well, it finishes a few metres afterwards, but I'm just got to get to the top and treat that at the top, then it finishes at this road sign here, just before the bridge. So this white sign is the finish. There we go, finish, sit up, pull over, hope this doesn't run me over. So, normalised power, 336 watts, with an average of 329, so it's a pretty evenly paced ride. My variability index was quite low. And yeah, 25:48 on the clock. The Strava segment was about 20 seconds quicker than that, because it's a little bit shorter than the time trial course. Effort number 1, time trial number 1, done and dusted. If you've made it this far, well done to you. If you've got any sort of tips as to how I can ride faster, better kit, time trialing tips, I am honestly all ears, because I've got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to keep doing it. I might revisit this another 2 or 3 times over the next few weeks, just to try and get a feel for riding the TT bike at race pace. And here we go. I've now entered as well a couple of time trials in July, so fingers crossed that CTT are able to plan some socially distanced events where we can do some time trialing. They're both 50 milers on dual carriageways, so after I've said that I don't like the idea of that, I need to get some fast times on the door for hopefully getting an entry to some sort of national championships later in the year. So thanks for watching. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button down below. There's definitely going to be a lot more time trial content coming on the channel, and I'll see you soon.